got some more space.
Hey guys!
Alrighty.
How's everyone doing?
Welcome. It is. Oh, we are a couple minutes behind this evening. It's 8:32. But it is also no. It's not the first Thursday of the month. We were out on vacation last week, so we actually were getting in from visiting family and doing some classes for different individuals down in North and South Carolina last week. So we did not get a chance to do our health talk with the Motts on the first Thursday of the month. So welcome to the second Thursday health talk with the Mott session. As we talk about health topics that may be of value to you guys, things that we try to implement in our lives, and a lot of what we do on this in this session is for educational purposes. So for tonight's topic, what we have chosen is the topic of gluten. Um, if you're not sure what gluten is or what's the deal with it, feel free to join us. I'm sorry, I'm stealing all of the camera from you. Let me slide this over. But yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about gluten tonight, exactly what it is, why are so many people having different issues with gluten, is gluten bad for you, and what you can do to support your body so that you should be able to have it, I guess. But yeah, so let's just dive right into it. I've got some points that I'm going to share. Dana has some as well, and she'll probably piggyback off of some of the information I have. If you guys have questions, welcome everyone. Welcome Maya, Kim. Thank you for joining us. If you guys have questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and we'll try to answer them as we go along.
And let us know where you're from. So go ahead in the comments. Let us know where you are from, because we know people are all over.
Yeah. So where do we start? So the first thing that we start with for gluten, I guess for those who don't know, let's give the definition. You have a definition there? It looks
yeah,
like?
I think this is important. So gluten, what is gluten? So first and foremost, gluten is the proteins in wheat, our gut irritants. They're like that paper cut or splinter digging into the lining of your gut, causing an inflammatory response. The most famous case is the inflammation caused by gluten in people with celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity. So that those two people are very important to keep in mind, because again, we're talking about the extremes of gluten intolerance as well as those that maybe just have everyday issues. So either way, it is a protein that is found in like wheats and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And the proteins in themselves, they're not necessarily bad. A lot of people think of gluten and they're automatically say that gluten is just across the board bad for everyone. But I think it's important to take a look at why people have different reactions to gluten. Dana mentioned celiac disease, that it was found that individuals with celiac disease had high reactions to gluten. But not just people with celiac disease have this reaction to gluten. So why are individuals having these different types of reactions? Well, one thing that we have to understand about the body is created for perfect, right? So the body has everything that it needs and the tools to be able to digest and to utilize the food that we take in. Now, the problem is throughout the course of the years, we've done different things either in our society or with our body or to our bodies or the environments that we live in that that alter our bodies on a genetic level. So some of those things that might be our lack of sleep or rest, which is really, really detrimental to the body, the diet, and our stress levels. Our culture here in the United States is very, very high stress because of how we run our day-to-day lives. And so all of these things throughout the course of time and over a couple of generations have altered the way that the body responds to something even as natural as gluten. So when I was talking about like our diet, a lot of people may have heard of the term GMOs or genetically modified food, which you're starting to see pop up on a lot of packaging now, right? Non-GMO. So it's pretty much says that this food, quote unquote, was developed organically. It has not had anything done to its DNA to change it. So with GMOs, I guess the idea behind them was to genetically modify food so that it'll last longer, withstand pesticides, and so that your vegetables look more green, or if it's an apple, looks more red. The only problem with this is it's not real food.
Yeah. Our
Um,
bodies do not understand non-food. If we try to put in our mouth something that is not food, it does not know what to do with it. And so it's going to wreak havoc on your body. It's going to wreak havoc on your digestive system. It starts right in the mouth. That's where the digestive system begins, with that saliva. If it doesn't know how to break it down and it starts going through that system, because we have to think systems. I think that's the problem. We get so tied up in gluten-free and non-GMOs, and we look at these labels and things like that, but we have to understand our bodies and our systems. So everybody's body is going to work a little bit different. So while one person like me might eat something and it might be a traditional wheat bread or something like that, and it might make me sick immediately, right? But that same person like my husband might be able to eat it and has no issues with it. Does
okay,
that,
but I can almost eat anything.
but does that mean then, oh, so now it's okay for you to have that type of bread? Well, it's the body's response, one way or the other. So what's important is that you understand your body, your system, and the bigger issue is that digestive system and that gut.
Yeah, because Dana kind of hit on a point. A lot of problems that we have with our body, where's the first place that they start? They start in our digestive system. So it's very, very important to look at our external environment and see how it's actually influencing what's happening internally within us, and see how we can support that. So like I mentioned, if you're having problems sleeping, and we talked about it probably in previous videos about what are some things you can do to get better rest, but make it a point to try to get better sleep. Because those things are going to manifest. If you're not sleeping well, it's going to manifest itself in your gut and cause all kinds of issues. Your diet, we talked about eating real food, leafy vegetables, things that we were told ever since we were kids, that maybe over time that we've either not implemented or just have a hard time implementing, because those things honestly affect our digestive system. And it's very interesting, because I was actually doing a little bit of research, and in the research it was found that a lot of Americans especially suffer from leaky gut. So this is where the whole issue of gluten kind of comes in, because gluten in itself is just simple proteins, right? Things that your body needs anyway. So they typically come from your whole grain, so your dark rye, your whole wheat, einkorn, things of that nature, that are your body is designed to be able to digest. But the problem is when our digestive system, or if we have leaky gut, now we have these proteins that are leaking through the gut lining and into our bloodstream, which is causing some type of allergic reaction, or some type of reaction within an individual's body. So think about what you can do to support your digestive system. I know that we've talked about it before, but one of my favorite things, because anybody who knows us knows that we are an oily family and we use essential oils for almost everything. But there's a blend by Young Living that's actually called Digest, which is actually designed to support your digestive system. So, along with looking at your diet, do you have some type of something in play to give your digestive system the support that it needs to be able to digest things that it's meant to, especially if it's something, if it's real gluten, you don't want too much processed food or fake food, I call it,
Right. Well, and the reality is you don't want any processed food because it's not food. Yeah. So I don't know how many people are Dr. Palin fans. I am, but in his book, one of his books, he talks about, I don't believe in diets, and I agree with him. I don't believe in diets. I believe just eat real food and listen to your system, because the way one person eats might not be the same as another person eating. But if you're eating real food, that's what's going to make the difference. Our bodies do not recognize these processed things. So the problem more is not necessarily always the gluten as much as it could possibly be the processed bread you're eating or the processed food that we're taking in. If we're taking in those processed breads and our body cannot digest it, and we already have digestive issues, already have leaky gut, already have those issues in the lining, then all it's going to do is get stuck in there because the body doesn't know what to do with it. And it's just going to wreak more havoc on your body. So understand your system, understand your body, be an advocate for your health. Avoid non-food.
Yeah. And it's nice because one thing that's nice about the body is the body has the ability to heal itself, especially if we give it the things that it needs for it to be able to do so. So we were talking about, making sure that we get sleep. We talked about the diet, making sure that we eat real food. And the last thing that I had mentioned was stress. If we have a very stress-filled environment, where's typically the first place we feel it? Sometimes we feel it in our shoulders, but usually it'll manifest itself in the gut as well. So what are you doing to support your stress levels? I know as an oily family, another oil that I love is actually called Stress Away, and it's something that I use quite often because for me, I know that's one of the things that I noticed immediately. For years, I did not have issues with my digestive system. I could eat almost anything, and I still do pretty well, but I noticed that, being a father and a husband, and having external factors, they all add stress. And as time has gone on, I've noticed more and more how it has affected my digestive system. So if anything that you can do to limit effects of stress on your body, do it. Because they are actually absolutely going to feel the benefits. And when we're talking about this whole subject of gluten, understand that it's not necessarily the gluten itself that a lot of people are having issues with, but it's actually our digestive systems. The research that I was doing actually was talking about our ancestors and how, 3-4 generations ago, people ate tons of whole grains. They ate tons of gluten and didn't have any issues. So what has changed since our ancestors 3-4 generations ago and now? Well, the only thing that's changed are our environmental. It's the very reason that we see diseases nowadays that were never heard of years ago. Think about things like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. I'm sure your grandparents or even my grandparents never heard of that back in the day, and probably even their parents, because those things, they just didn't exist. People ate real food, and so therefore it had less of an effect on the body. So I guess if I could sum it up, all in all, one thing I want to stress is just, take a look at those external factors and how they're affecting the body, because it could very well be the reason that certain people are having reactions to gluten. Da, 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 da. That's what I had to share.
Okay. Well, and just to piggyback on that, again, I'll go back to the making sure that we're eating real wheat, real grains. I mean, I shouldn't say wheat, real grains. So Young Living actually has an einkorn farm, which einkorn is an ancient grain. So many people that with processed glutens and processed grains that might not be able to eat those things usually can have the ancient ones. Now, if you have celiac disease or an extreme gluten sensitivity, then you might need to completely avoid all gluten, period. There are some that legitimately cannot have it, not even a trace, not even a little bit. So that those are not the people that we're talking to right now. The nice thing though, with Young Living owning their own farm, so the same standard with their oils is the same standard with their einkorn farms that they own. They own their farms. Yep. So you know what's being produced. You know the type of ancient grain that's done. And I actually will put in the comments a little video that talks more deeper into their farms that they have over there in France. But the nice thing about the einkorn is its low index of gluten. Because when you have these ancient grains, again, this is back to what back in the day, our ancestors were eating. So the body knows how to be able to process that. Can you pass me the
Sure. This one?
Yes. So there's a little chart on the back of, I know you guys can't really see that, but the einkorn pancake and waffle mix. And they do have a gluten-free version too. So for those that do have that condition where they can't have any gluten, you for sure can still get the benefits of that ancient grain. But if you look back on here, so the percentage of gluten that's in it is about 0.53%. Versus if you look at like a whole wheat or all-purpose or unbleached bread. So whole wheat, just the regular traditional, has 9.92% of gluten in it, whereas the all-purpose has 9.2%. So you can see how extremely high that is in comparison to a fraction of that 0.53. So most people can process and be able to utilize that. And of course, einkorn is a full line that Young Living has. So if you have only explored the oils and you have not explored some of the other things, be sure to try those, because it's some amazing alternatives. They also have, this is an empty thing, of course, because
it did not last very long in our house at all.
The einkorn granola as well. They have the einkorn spaghetti. They have the einkorn noodles, rotini. And then the flour, so just to bake and make anything that you might want or need. So there's so many other options and there's so many things, but read your labels, turn things around and know what you're putting into your body. Understand your system. It's so important. We say that all the time, but it's so important to understand your system, your body, and what really you can process. Work on that gut. So probiotics, we talk about kombucha, we talk about fermented foods, again, so that you can give your body the best fighting mechanisms to be able to just process, to work the way it's supposed to work, to be able to process things the way it's supposed to process.
Okay, very good.
So any questions? We didn't get very many comments this time. How's everybody doing this evening? If you have any questions, comments, please post in the thing. We'd love to hear from you. And again, let us know where you're from.
Let me see if I can see the comments here. Yeah, that's just for me to write a comment. You guys will have to bear with me. Like, Facebook changes their app like every 5 days. So they completely redesign it.
Yep. But we appreciate everybody. So please like, share the content here. Also, keep in mind, we will have some in-person classes coming up this month. We're super excited. Tomorrow is a huge Michigan event. Shannon Hudson, diamond leader, is going to have some amazing diamonds visiting us and speaking tomorrow and Saturday. So we're super excited about that. If you're in the Michigan area, be sure to check out that event. It's just going to be some phenomenal information. Also, next Friday evening, we will be doing an in-person class at my spa. So that'll be on Greenfield between 12 and 13 Mile. So that is open to everyone. We want to further education because we know on here we can't really personalize things, but it's nice to in person be able to get some of your health questions answered, to be able to individualize it for your family in particular, and to kind of guide you on your journey to wellness. So please be sure to join us and share and like. And all of our health talks are uploaded to our YouTube channel. So that's DNA Wellness. So you can go back and listen to and share any of the other replays that we have.
You see what we did there? DNA. Okay, they got it. Okay, and the class is at 6:30.
Yep, 6:30 next Friday. Yep, Greenfield in the suite. I can put that information in the comments as well.
All right. Well, that's all the time that we have with you guys this evening. We thank every single one who popped in. Feel free to go back and watch it. If you guys have any questions, post it in the comments below, and we'll do our best to answer them. And until then, hopefully we'll be in contact with you guys and keep in touch throughout the month. Until next time, take care.
Bye, guys. Thank you.